if you're trying to get a step van business loan with no social security number, you got to really go through a certain process, especially if you're trying to really avoid the whole PG sort of scheme, the whole personal guarantee. So if you do not want to give a personal guarantee, there are a few things you need to really do, and you have to do those things properly. So let me give you some generalities here when it comes to getting a step van business loan, no social. Okay, now step van financing actually represents a big investments for many delivery companies. And if you have a step van business, you can get a loan to acquire a vehicle. You can get a loan also to take care of other stuff. Like you can get a loan to expand your office, to actually bid on more load, but more loads on load bars, or you can just hire staff. So if cash coming in your business is not really enough to actually cover all the cash going out in your step van business, then getting a loan actually can help you big time. Okay, a step van business loan can really help you big time. But the thing is that step van, you got to really ask yourself, if you want to acquire a step van for your step van business, do you want to buy a step van or do you want to lease? Because you always have the option to actually lease the vehicle. Okay, if you have a step van, whether you do a expedited or you do a OTR or you do another type of transportation, you got to always ask yourself if leasing will be better for you as opposed to a straight acquisition. Step van financing often comes in the form of a step van loan or lease. So the difference, for instance, is that some lenders may offer a step van business loans up to 100% of the value of the step van, whereas when it comes to a lease, you do not have that sort of program. In addition, at least if you go for a step van lease, you do not own the vehicle. But if you go for a step van business loan, you own. You don't own the vehicle, even because when you have a business loan, you don't own the vehicle until the title transfers to you. And by the time like all along, when the loan is outstanding, if you owe a certain amount, if you owe the lender a certain amount, they're gonna keep the title, right? You're gonna keep the title to the business, to the step van, so you don't own it, but at least it is in your company's name anyway. So if you're thinking about having a step van business loan, no social security number this year, you have to understand that you have the option to buy a new step van, to buy a used step van. You have the option to even lease it. Okay, so don't think that buying is actually the top step that the first step you have to really follow. No, you can also you can step back and say, you know what, I don't like the whole buying thing. I'm just going to lease, because there are advantages of leasing a step van for your step van business. So you are paying less cash than the cash purchase price of step van. Because if you were to acquire a step van through a loan, you might have to actually put 5% down or 10% down or 15% down, depending on the loan that you are looking for, and also the value of the step van itself. But the cool thing about a lease is that you're able to pay less than the cash purchase price of the step van. You are able to have predictable budgeting, because a lease is pretty predictable because the amounts are similar every single month, and you also have the ability to avoid step van like being obsolete real fast. The old saying that when you drive a car out of the dealership, it loses value right away, right? So leasing may also be less expensive than getting a loan to purchase the step van, because the lessor, which is another name for the leasing agency, the lessor invests in what's known as a residual position in the step van being leased. So many types of step vans, such as if you have all kinds of step vans depending on the load that you want to carry. Like you want to do OTR, you want to do a reefer, it really depends. Okay. But what I want to say here is that many types of step vans become outdated quickly. Okay, so leasing offers the freedom, if you will, to actually upgrade to a new step van regularly without making a large cash outlay. So if you plan to update your step van regularly, make sure your lease terms allows you for doing that without incurring a penalty. and you want to work to structure a lease term that coincides with your plane upgrades. Okay, so that's really good because it gives you more flexibility. It gives you also more autonomy from a cash flow point of view. So that's really fantastic. If you're trying to get a step van business loan, no social this year, let me share with you a few lenders who will work with you to make sure your dream becomes a reality. So you have Top Mark Funding. That's the first lender. So Top Mark Funding is really fantastic because they've been around for many years now, and the cool thing is that they will finance your step van with no social security required. Okay, and you are able to be approved for a maximum of $250,000. So that's a quarter of a million. So you can buy multiple step vans for your business, for your delivery business. That's really cool. Okay. On top of that, you can also have the pre-approval. So Topmark allows you to be pre-approved for your loan. So in other words, there is no impact on your credit. Okay, no social security number, nothing at all. So that's really fantastic. But maximum here, $250,000 within 24 hours. Really fantastic. Another step van business loan, no social security number, is actually the one that you get from Blue Bridge Financial. Blue Bridge Financial will finance one step van up to $100,000 and multiple step vans up to $500,000, depending on the kind of history you have. Of course, they're not asking you to provide your social, but they will actually see your business's credit history, your business's financial history, and see what kind of stage you are at. If you are a new business, if you are a late stage business, or whatever. Okay, so that's really important. So Blue Bridge Financial, another example of step van business loan, no no social security number required. Another lender I want to share with you is actually commercial fleet financing. So if you are looking for a step van business loan, no social security number, I want you to think about CFF. That's the other name for commercial fleet financing. So here you are able to actually get a maximum of $250,000 to actually finance your step van, and also have the possibility to have zero down financing. In other words, not only are you getting a no social security like a check, but you also have no down payment. Okay, you also have a quick and easy application process. And the cool thing about CFF is that, kind of similar to Top Mark Funding, you are able to get pre-approved. So you have that possibility of pre-approval. That's kind of cool because you can really have a peace of mind and know exactly how much you could qualify for if you were to apply. If you are looking for a step van business loan with no social security number this year, I want you to think about Balboa Capital. So Balboa Capital is another biggie when it comes to a step van business loans with no social. And Balboa Capital, kind of similar to Top Mark Financing, has been around for many, many, many years, if not decades. And the cool thing about Balboa Capital is that this is an affiliate. This is a subsidiary, if you will, of a regular bank. So the regular bank is called Ameris. So Ameris Bank has been around for a while, and the Balboa Capital is their equipment financing arm. Okay, so that's kind of cool to know that here you have an alternative lender that's actually affiliated with the regular lenders. That just means what? It means they have access to a large pool of funds. Their balance sheet is deeper. The balance sheet is really, really, really larger because of the bank balance sheet, the bank's balance sheet itself. So Balboa Capital allows you to get a step van business loan, maximum $100,000, and you can also be pre-approved. Okay, that's kind of cool. Another lender I want to share with you is Liberty Capital Group. So if you are looking for a step van business loan with no social security number required, think about Liberty Capital Group. And Liberty actually allows you to get the loan with a maximum loan amount of $150,000. Okay, and they've been around for a while too. They've been around for more than 10 years. So you can really reach out to them and see actually how much you can qualify for, and they also give you the possibility to be pre-approved. So you can have an idea of how much you can qualify for before applying for real. Okay, so if you're interested in reaching out to Liberty, Let me give you a number. So it's a 888-511-6223. So 888-511-6223. So you are able to actually get the loan, and you can get pre-approved, okay, and see how much you can qualify for. So those are the top 5 step van business loans, no social required this year. So that's kind of cool. Give them a call. You have Top Mark Funding, you have Blue Bridge Financial, you have Commercial Fleet Financing, you have a Balboa Capital, and then you have Liberty Capital Group. So if you are looking for a step van business loan, no social security number, just pay attention to a few things that they'll ask you. Of course, they may not ask you your credit history because they don't need your social, yes, but they want to pay attention to your debt service coverage. So this is actually a fancy term that just means, hey, listen, can you afford the loan you're actually applying for? So if you get a loan, if you were to get a loan, a step van business loan for 50 grand tomorrow, would you be able to actually cover the loan? So what is your DSC? What's your debt service coverage ratio? So that's kind of important. Of course, the lender will want to make sure they also pay attention to the value of the vehicle itself, right? So in addition to the step van valuation, the lender, so your online lender, your alternative lender, your bank, or even credit union, might require something called DSC. So DSC means that they are reviewing your business financials to make sure you have the appropriate amount of cash flow to successfully take on the monthly payments for the step van loan, okay, step van business loan. So the lender actually might also want to determine how much value the step van will add to your business revenue potential and compare that value to the monthly debt payments. In other words, they'll look at your cash inflows and cash outflows and see the delta. If you are able to actually pay back, okay. If not, there are some rare cases where they might actually check your credit history, and that will mean what? That just means that if they're checking your credit history, they might ask for your social. But this is rare. If you tell them when you actually apply for a loan that you're looking for a step van business loan, no social security number, they're not going to check your credit. But if you go to a lender that's not the top 5 that I just gave you, they might ask for your credit history. Okay, they might really pull your credit history to see what kind of borrower you are at. I mean, what kind of borrower you are, whether you are a responsible borrower or you just you're just part of the subpar population, if you will, in terms of credit. So when it comes to getting a step van business loan, no social security number this year, remember that the step van financing rates are pretty low right now. So if you're lucky, you can probably even get the single digits. So that's kind of cool to have a step van business loan for maybe 10 years at 7%, at 8%. That's really cool. Now the step van, the rates that you will get will ultimately depend on the economy, but also your geography, in addition to the kind of loads you want to haul with the vehicle. So if you want to buy a step van for, let's say, a specific hauling, let's say a OTR or reefer or perishable goods or hazmats, you might need to do a little bit of upgrading. And upgrading will increase the value of the step van and maybe increase also the value of the amount of loan that you have to get in the first place. So step van financing rates will impact your ability to get the loan that you want. But hey, listen, it's like with everything else. So what's the strategy here? You have to understand that when it comes to getting a step van business loan, no social, you got to really think about your financing benefits in general, okay? Because you are able to get the step van you need, and you're also able to manage cash flow. You're able to take care of. You can write off certain things. Let's say you can write off certain expenses to make sure that you are actually tapping into your fiscal benefits. Because if you use the step van for work, which you are going to do, if you, let's say you use the car for loads, and so you're able to write off everything. So when it comes to taxes, you're able to write off using the mileage rate, or so that's actually the mileage option, or you can just go the expense deduction option. So that way you have to really have a lot of paperwork. You have to keep detailed receipts to be able to justify the amounts you want to write off. Okay, that's something to really think about this year. But the good thing is overall, you have the possibility to actually benefit big time from a step van business loan. If you're trying to get a step van business loan, no social security number, you can also ask for a tailored solution. What I'm trying to say here is that before you even apply for the loan, make sure that you speak to the dealership to see if there is something they can do to the car, to the vehicle, before you go to before you apply. That's why being pre-approved for a step van business loan is kind of cool, because it gives you that flexibility, because you know the money is already there, right? So if you are pre-approved for 50 grand or 75 grand, then you can go and you have 75 grand to shop for. You can shop for 75 grand. I mean, everything, okay? And what I want to say here also is that when it comes to a step van business loan, no social security number, you have to understand that you are basically acquiring the vehicle in your business's name. So your step van business will have to really, we have to use its credits or even its name to actually get the loan. Because if you do not want to have your personal social, you gotta have an EIN. So EIN stands for employer identification number. That's actually the number you are using to actually acquire the loan. Okay, so make sure that you have a good EIN, but you also are able to build your business credit. So you want to really establish credit, business credit, that is, for your step van business. That way, when you go to the lender, you can apply for the loan, you can apply for a line of credit, you can apply for whatever in the business name. That way, they're not going to ask you about your social. They don't even care about your social anymore, because you are buying the car, you are buying the vehicle, you are buying the step van in your company's name. Okay, that's actually the best way to do this, because actually the tax laws are made in such a way that you do not want to spend any money at all. Okay, you do not want to spend your own money at all. Use the laws to work for you, the tax laws, but also the credit laws. That's really something to think about, especially if you are trying to build credit, but also increase the amount of assets, let's say fixed assets, you have on your step van business's balance sheet. In closing, today's conversation, I spoke to you about how to actually get a step van business loan, no social security number. I give you the generalities, the lenders, the requirements, and the strategy. So in terms of lenders, please don't forget the five that I just shared with you. You have Top Mark Funding, Blue Bridge Financial, Commercial Fleet Financing, Balboa Capital, and Liberty Capital Group. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.